Hey guys, thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. My name's Sean Elders. I'm the founder and chief instructor of Pinnacle Combat Arts. I'm an expert in military combatives, Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune, Filipino Kali, Silat, several grappling arts, and advanced tactical firearms. Today, we're gonna be working on trapping out of the boxing structure, Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune. When we talk about trapping, we're simply immobilizing a hand or a foot, okay? Jump fan Jeet Kune, Bruce Lee was trying to show people, back in the old days, people would just either kick, punch, clinch, or grapple. But there's this small little area between when I'm punching, okay? There's this area right here where I could hit with both hands at the same time. With these two, with both hands, I'm able to, there's this little space right here, okay? This is called trapping range. When we think about Kali, Silat, Wing Chun, Choi Li Foot, Praying Mantis, any of these things like that. So what's happening is there's this little space. Whenever there are hands inside this box right here, okay? This is where we have to learn how to navigate. And in street fights, when there's a certain type of pressure, we have to be able to navigate around these hands. So in other words, the first gate you learn would be the outside gate here, okay? But the gates could be this way, it could be here, it doesn't matter, all these different gates. But trapping can also take place just outside of that in kicking and punching range as well. Now, the way that we trap is different than, for instance, Wing Chun. Wing Chun, they have a certain structure, okay? That structure was developed over 400 years ago. We fight differently now. We fight out of a boxing structure, a boxing format, okay? So Bruce Lee realized that he started seeing when they were street fighting in Hong Kong on the rooftops, he would see things where different styles of Kung Fu would get together and they would fight each other. And he would always see that they would have problems that get jammed up right in this spot right here. Or he would see everybody go and get in a clinch position or go to the ground. And so what he realized, he goes, first of all, there's 4 ranges to a fight: kicking range, punching range, trapping range, and grappling standing up, grappling on the ground, okay? So he realized I have to be able to flow between all 4 of those ranges to be efficient. I need to know those 4 ranges. And then even later on, before he died, he realized you have to learn how to use weapons too. He's like, man, how do I, what if a person pulls a knife out on me? He wasn't able to develop that into his curriculum yet, but he was constantly experimenting and constantly researching and understanding why people, what happens in a fight. Because the truth is that a lot of traditional martial arts, people just kind of, they study these really nice elaborate movements, which are beautiful, and they're beautiful for their culture. But how do I understand these advanced movements, and how does that dictate how do you understand that in live motion in an actual fight? So what he realized was when he studied Wing Chun, he realized when he came to the States, and I think he even started seeing it even before that. But when he came to the States, he realized everybody boxes now. Everybody, this is the structure that seems to be the more efficient and effective way of fighting. So what he realized was, I'm gonna start to use some of these things from these other arts and draw it into boxing. So a lot of people try to say, Jump fan Jeet Kune, it is Wing Chun. No, it is not Wing Chun. It is a modified version. It's modified. So you think about it as, he takes a boxing structure and he modifies the Wing Chun into it. So it is not Wing Chun, it is a modified Wing Chun, okay? Out of a boxing structure. So that's very important. I want you to understand that there's a lot of misconception about what is Jeet Kune, what is Jun Fan. Jun Fan Gung Fu is the base system, okay, of what Bruce Lee taught. These were the basic tools that were taught to the student that he found the most simple, direct, and efficient, okay? So that means all 4 ranges, there are tools that he found the most efficient at that time. So for instance, he would take boxing, okay? He looked at Muhammad Ali, he looked at all these guys, and he started to look at that and go, well, this seems like it works. And let me test it out, because he understood that there's a difference between fighting in the ring and fighting in the street, because there's different intent, a different environment, and there's also a different pressure that takes place. That pressure that takes place dictates what tools you can use in the fight, okay? And so when two people get in a ring, they're moving around, they're using elusive footwork, they know why they're in there, they both have decided to fight. When you are in a street altercation, or if somebody's trying to kill you, or if you're in a violent altercation, there's a lot of unknowns and the environment is different, okay? So in other words, you would be using different types of tools. So trapping, I would say, it was used more often, obviously, in a street altercation, because if something happens and this person's coming at me violently, okay, a lot of times this box right here gets filled with hands. I have to be able to navigate around those hands. You know, if I put my hand up and he defends against it, I've got to find out where to go and how to get there to stun him once, so I can follow up to he no longer is a threat. That is the format, okay? When I throw a punch at somebody, they put up a barrier. They try to defend against it. When that happens, I have two choices. I can either bring my hand back like most people do, most boxers or fighters do, or I can use that as a bridge to get in closer and take advantage of the trapping range. Now, when it comes to law enforcement and military, I've trained them for years, okay? And this is the range that they get into the most. Why? Because they're in an altercation where they're trying to handle the situation. It could be either life or death, or they're trying to arrest somebody, okay? So when I get in a trapping range, you need to understand how to navigate in this distance right here. How do I navigate in this distance right here? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a step-by-step, starting at the fundamentals, okay? Even if you've been doing trapping for a while, you can find value in this, because I'm gonna give you some material that you may, or a viewpoint that you may have never seen before, okay? And so I want you to just take your time, check out what I have to say, and show you, and see if you've learned something new. Let me know down in the comments below, okay? So the first one is gonna be outside. We call this in Cantonese, we call this Noi Pak Sao Da, okay? So a lot of people, this is the other misconception. You see people, they all start like this, you know, and they always go, oh, well, nobody starts a fight like that. Only in Enter the Dragon, right? Well, the truth is that this is what they call reference point. If you see two people put their hands up like this means that they're training and practicing the basics. I'm pak-saoing and I'm going in. All I'm doing is learning how to do the mechanics. The first step to all martial arts is you have to learn the body mechanics first. You have to get the fundamentals of those body mechanics down. Sometimes you have to do that with a partner, but a lot of times you have to do it by yourself, and you've got to do it thousands and thousands of times to get it into your bone structure and to get it into your body. So the first one, Noi Pak Sao Da. He puts his hand out. Now, how do I get into this? There's many ways you can get into this, okay? One way could be him and I are squared up, okay? And I throw a jab and he just defends against it. Now, instead of just going and bringing it back real quick and trying to find a new avenue to strike, I instead go here and then I bridge that gap, okay? Now notice the way that I'm standing. I'm not in a traditional Wing Chun stance like this, where my feet are real heavy. I'm light on my feet, okay? I'm rock and shuffling. I'm using my footwork and this lightness to be able to be very visceral and be able to be very responsive, okay? Because we have to have really good footwork. That's so important. So I'm in my fighting stance, okay? I throw a punch and he puts that hand up and I get that barrier out of the way just for a moment to stun him. If I hit him, okay, and I stun him, this is when I can follow up with my boxing punches, or I could follow up with a straight blast. Do you see? So that's very important. That's a very important aspect to understanding what trapping is. Trapping is just simply to move a hand out of the way, okay? So the first one we have is the no epoxy out. So you'll start off with your partner, you'll just go wrist to wrist like this. When I pox out, I want to pox out, my hand doesn't go out like this and smack in. My hand stays at the center line, okay? And I step forward and I pox out just like that. I step forward and I pox out, okay? Noi pox out da, that's the full name of this, okay? So we can do that on both sides. So if I did it on this side like this, same thing. You can switch sides, okay? So this is with the left lead. So you need to know how to do it on both leads. Okay, so you just I have my hand here. Don't swing your hand out like this. You want to be in this position and go pox out. See that? Pox out. I'm coming straight in. We call this center line. I attack the center line with this percussion strike to the center line, straight to the spine. So 1 and 2, just like that. Okay, so you would do it left and right lead. Then you could do it mixed match lead. So if he was in his left lead, for instance, okay, and I threw an attack here like this, and he used his rear hand to deal with that attack, then I could still do the pox out off that outside hand. Doesn't really make a difference if they're in right, left lead. I can do it the same as on this side. If I threw a cross and he picked it up on his outside hand, I would pox out on this side as well. So I want you to practice with your partner. Go back to your right lead, okay? Outside position, pox out, okay? Now notice my footwork. My footwork goes, I step and slide forward, I pox out da. Now all I'm doing is I'm stepping with my foot and sliding my back. Now they used to do, in the old days, they used to do foot and drag. Well, it's pretty much foot and drag. They would call it step and slide. Step and slide, they would just slide their foot like this, and they would drag their foot. And what it does, it causes too much friction. I always say now step and glide. So lift your foot up just literally a centimeter off the floor and let it glide across. That will help you get there faster and be able to be more efficient with your footwork. So I go here, noi pox out da, push and step and slide. Then he switches his feet. I'd still do the same one, but on the outside gate here, okay? Then I could switch the other side, left lead to left lead, put my hand up and go here, okay? And then I could also do it with this hand, just like that. So just think of them right now as gates. You have certain types of gates that you are going, and that's really what it has to do with. The only difference is that when they stand a certain way, I'm pox outing down the center line. It all dictates on how are their feet. Doesn't make that much of a difference as long as you understand how to pox out with the right and left side, okay? So how do you practice this? You practice it over and over and over again. So if I was with my partner, I would just go here, I would pox out just like that over and over and over again, just like that. Notice I'm not drawing my hand back and striking. I can step and slide forward. I pox out, my hand stays connected. I punch and I pox out and I strike straight from that gate. That's very important. If you bring it back like this and I try to pox out, he can fill that space with a strike. So it's very important when you strike straight from the gate, okay? Straight from this gate right here, from the connection here. In Cantonese, some will call this tong sao to tong sao, if you want to get into the Cantonese aspect of this, okay? So that is the outside noi pak sao da. All right, so the next one's gonna be, it's going to be lap sao. Well, lap sao just simply means pulling hand, okay? What I'm gonna do, when I do pulling hand, I don't use my thumb, okay? Some people say that you should, some people say they don't. There's a big debate about it. What is the lap sao? The lap sao simply is to pull the hand just out of the way to do a strike, okay? It's just that simple, especially in boxing structure. When you think of the old Wing Chun style, okay, a lot of these guys, they pull like crazy, okay? Well, why are you putting so much energy into something? There's no point in it, okay? If they put up their hand to guard this, I just want to move this hand just out of the way so I can throw that punch right behind it. Now, if you get your timing down right, when I do this, and I'm gonna slide this right inside, I wanna make sure I rotate with my hips. But people when you spend so much time doing this, you're losing the point of the trap itself. It's simply just to give you a brief second to move this out of the way to throw that punch. That's it, okay? So I know Wing Chun people are gonna be like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, whatever. It doesn't matter, because what really matters is what works in the street. I don't care about what you've been taught for hundreds of years. I don't care about that. I care about what works in the street. And so we have to constantly evolve with the times and evolve with the way street fights go and the way people fight. That's what Bruce Lee was trying to teach. So when I bring my hand up like this, I'm gonna turn my hand over. I'm only gonna use these fingers right here. I don't even use my pointer. I just pull for a moment. I slide up the gate, up this arm right here, down the center line. Okay, let's do it on this side. My hand comes up and I pull just like that. See that? My thumb is not engaged. It's just these three fingers. I'm just doing it for a moment. I'm not pulling it. I don't even need to pull it all the way down like this. All I have to do is just pull it just enough to slide that hand in to get that attack. Okay? So that is the next gate, or it's the same gate. So on the first one, on this what they call Noi, the outside, I can do Pak Sao or I can do Lop Sao. See that? Okay. Now the next gate would be if he parried with the lead hand. Okay. When he parries with the lead hand, I do what they call swing gate, and I come up like this, swing gate. Okay. That's the next one. So what happens with the swinging gate is when I trap this, I'm moving this out of the way, okay? And my hand's gonna swing around, okay? And we do what they call gua choi. Gua choi is, this could be the back knuckle, okay? Don't use the soft part of your hand. So when I come into this position, I throw a punch, I come around, and I'm striking with the back knuckle, all right? So the next one, the third gate, is where he parries with this hand, okay? Notice I'm the one attacking, okay? I attack on this line and I bong sao just a little bit. Sometimes you don't have to, but I like to teach the bong sao first. I bong sao, my hand comes underneath, and then I strike. You see, I throw the attack, bong sao, lop sao, strike, okay? So if I go a little bit faster, boom, just like that. See, 1, 2, and 3. The last one is on the outside gate. Sometimes people will either do an arm nudge like this, or that. So if I'm squared up, sometimes they'll go like this. They'll nudge it like that, okay? Or it's just somebody going, oh shit, and they put their hand up to defend or block like this. And this is when you would use this technique. I go in like this, and he puts that hand out. I'm gonna do what they call a jet sao. I slap with the inside of my hand, just like this. I slap and go to the center line and strike. So when you do this, you can do a round punch when you do that, jet sao and strike. Notice I'm riding with my forearm to the face. 1, 2, and strike. Or I can kind of strike like I'm coming out on the outside like this, and then I go down just like that. So notice how my hand comes in, my hand opens up, I slap down to the center line between him and I. We pretend that there's this little spot right here that we direct that attack to, and then we slide the hand up. Let's do it from the other side. So I go 1, 2, and slide in. Now, as soon as I get that, we obviously follow up. The follow-up is dictated on whatever you feel, okay? Should I do a series of punching? Should I go to double leg, single leg takedown? Should I straight blast? What is it that I need to do? Should I go straight for the clinch? Should I, whatever. The idea is you're just breaking that gap, okay? You're breaking that gap. So those are the 4 different gates that you're gonna be working. So to review, we have the outside, we have lop sao, I do swinging gate, and then he parries with the same bong sao, lop sao, strike, and then finally the jet sao, okay? And so those are the 4 I want you to work on for the first part, all right? Practice it, take your time, do hundreds of repetitions. Get your footwork right, get your hands right. Make sure that your hands are always occupying center line. You need to make sure your hands stay in center line, they occupy center line, they attack center line, and they maintain center line, all right? This is part 1 of the trapping series. Hey guys, thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the bell so you can get notified every time we get a new video. Thank you so much for your support and have a great day.